Hey, hey, hey. I just wanted you to know. Look at this. What is up? What is up? This is the No I Don't Know TV series. We are back and we are black. Man, what is going on? Another day, another 10 cents. God damn. You already know what it is. Man, I just wanted you to know I'm really being true to you, baby girl. I need you by my side. Looking at another day, I'm pretty sure it's about all the people that's like, damn, Jesus didn't come back. What am I gonna do? I done paid all these tithes. I done gave all my offering. I can't even pay my rent on time. And I thought he was coming back. Damn, I guess. Shout out to everybody that's at the corporate plantation. I know it's fucked up right now. God damn, much power and love and respect to you. Man, let me turn this shit down. Man, it's a lot going on. It's a lot of shit to talk about today. But man, the main thing, our boy Pete Buttigieg dropped out of the Democratic race. Damn. You feel me? But anyway, it don't matter if he dropped out. I ain't voting for neither one of them motherfuckers. I've yet to hear anybody with a black agenda or any specific black agenda for us to move forward and to get our land, wealth, and resources so we can have our own economic base, so we don't have to work 10 times as hard as the next motherfucker at the corporate plantation, just so we can have the little bit of land and resources that we get, like buying a clown-ass house. And then after you buy the house, you got a 25-year to 30-year mortgage, which, if you look up the etymology root word of mortgage, it means death pledge. So since we're competing on this corporate plantation so we can get this death pledge, just so we can have some type of status amongst the dominant society who really don't give a fuck no way. Because their great-great-grandfathers and grandmothers own the majority of the Fortune 500 companies that you work at. So if there's anyone that's a politician that's going to get the land, wealth, and resources for native blacks in America, then you'll get my vote. Until then, you ain't getting Nathan. Facts. But anyway, there's been a lot going on. We gotta know these rules. We gotta know what they doing, the moves they making. I see everybody in Selma, and you got John Lewis. You know, we need to look at how they prop up black people. I watched a couple of, on Sundays I like to watch documentaries and stuff. I've just finished the Malcolm X. I'm still not happy with the Who Killed Malcolm X documentary, because I do not like the way they depicted the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I do not like the way they depicted the Nation of Islam. I just don't like the way they depicted it. So you can call me biased, you can call me whatever you want. But if you notice, when John F. Kennedy got shot, they didn't depict his family in a bad light. They didn't depict his bootlegging grandfather that was a racist, a white supremacist, or we can say suspected white supremacist. Like I said before, when you go in Caucasian houses, they got John F. Kennedy on the wall. They got Abraham Lincoln on the wall. They got George Washington. Not George Washington Carver, but George Washington on the wall. They got Andrew Jackson on the wall. They got all these well-known white supremacists on their wall. And then you go in, a lot of black people, they got Obama on the wall. Like, that nigga ain't do shit. I had him on my wall too. But I immediately took that motherfucker down. By his first term, I had already probably had listened to about, after his first term and Trayvon Martin got killed, I had already listened to about 4 or 5 Minister Louis Farrakhan speeches. I listened to a couple of Malcolm X speeches, and he was going in. But I listened to a lot of Minister Louis Farrakhan speeches because him and Khalid Muhammad, I like Malcolm X's speeches, and I like that. But for some sort of reason, it just kept coming up on my YouTube. And this was 2010, 11. This is when YouTube was big, but it wasn't really that big. Social media was kind of just taking off. This was the era when MySpace was leaving and Facebook was becoming back into the 80s, and listened to him before when he was just speaking in little rooms. I was like, damn, this nigga's saying real shit. Then I'm looking around, I'm like, damn, everything he's talking about is shit that we going through every day. And to me, it was just kind of relatable, especially when he describes the corporate plantation and white people and how they act like they ain't done nothing wrong, and how the white people they're quick to be like, oh, well, I didn't enslave anybody. You know, that's my great-great-grandparents. But you're benefiting from what they did. So until you fuck renouncing the throne, until you give back those land, wealth, and resources to melanated people in this country that deserve that, whose great-great-grandparents built this country, then you just talking. That's all it is. And after listening to it, I was just like, damn. And I've listened to speeches how he broke down Malcolm X's, when he talked about when Malcolm X was going to lead the nations and all that. And when I watched this, Who Killed Malcolm X, I still have a big disagreement with how we air out our dirty laundry to the dominant society. You know what I mean? And I watched how the dominant society waited until the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and not Farrakhan, but Malcolm X had a quarrel. And once they had a quarrel, they invaded it. They jumped right in there. You know what I mean? And it's like, it really taught me that we don't establish a code. We don't have a code. You know what I mean? And I get it. You know, I think a lot of the times, I think once we get a little bit of fame and we get a little bit of fortune and we get the backing of people, we have an ego. You know, I remember Snoop Dogg had this CD called Ego Trippin' in 2008, produced by Teddy Riley. And it is true. We get the ego tripping. And we feel like we're better than the whole movement. We're better than everything because we want to just get it out. And then when things don't go our way, then we start airing out the dirty laundry. And what I really, really paid attention to within that whole divide within the nation and then the regular black Muslims that weren't a part of the nation, it's just like, man, they would have been so powerful if they would have just put those differences to the side and kept that code up. And a lot of times we get in our feelings and we start telling on each other, and the dominant society, they love that. J. Edgar Hoover is the most vile person I've ever read about, and they still have a building named after him. And if we were to go to Jerusalem or any city that's predominant Jewish, they would not, I repeat, they would not have no building named after Adolf Hitler. But in this country, we have all these buildings named after these white, well-known supremacists who hated native black people in this country. And it is well documented, after looking at that docuseries, that the FBI and the NYPD and New Jersey Police Department, they infiltrated the nation. They had informants. They had other informants around Malcolm, and they used those informants to kill him. And then they framed other people that didn't have nothing to do with it and broke up his family. And then when the young brother was getting ready to go talk to the motherfucker who shot Malcolm, he mysteriously died. And I just think that we gotta really understand what a code is. I promote this book. I talk about this book all the time, man. Get this book by Neely Fuller Jr. Matter of fact, if you're having problems getting the book, go on YouTube and just listen to some of his speeches. Listen to some of his interviews and what he talk about. Listen to him and Dr. Frances Welsing. These people weren't lying. They ain't crazy. That's why it's so funny, because they create everything. The reason why I'm talking about this right now is know the social game rules, you know, and there are social game rules we really need to know. First of all, these social media platforms are controlled by the dominant society. They can cut you off at any time. I don't have a whole lot of followers on Twitter. I don't have a whole lot of followers on this YouTube channel. I like it that way. But what I have been noticing, if you can scroll back, well, you probably, if you want to, But if you can scroll back and look at my tweets from 2012 when I first got it, I was talking about fuck a bitch, bitches ain't shit. I never got my Twitter taken away. I never got sanctioned. I was never in Twitter jail. None of that. I'm fuck a bitch. Fuck a bitch. A bitch can suck a dick. That's all I'm saying the whole time. For people that followed me back in the day, they could attest to this. All the time. Leo and them know. Shout out to Leo. They know. That's why I used to say on Twitter, never, ever, ever did they take away my Twitter. But after I started going in on Coons and Sambos, the first time they took it for a day or two. Now they took it for a week. They said you may not promote violence against, threaten, or harass other people on the basis of race, ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, religious affiliation, age, disability, or serious disease. Now, shout out to Vicky Dillard. I was responding to Vicky because Vicky had said something very, very poignant. Yeah, she basically retweeted what Danny Glover's ass was saying. Now, let me read to you what I said to Vicky. At Vicky Dillard, Danny Glover is a Sambo that is doing anything to stay relevant. He is known for doing the bidding for the dominant society. That's why they have Sambos like him on TV, because he is a safe house coon. Now, I didn't use any violence. I didn't threaten anybody. I didn't harass anybody. I didn't put at Danny Glover. I didn't talk about his religious beliefs. I didn't talk about his disabilities or diseases. All I did was call him a Sambo and a coon. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because there was a sister that was in Fifth Harmony, Normandy Pins. And then she talked about this dominant society sister, Camila Cabello's, and how this sister was making racist remarks on Tumblr and on Twitter. They didn't take away her shit. They didn't take away none of her shit. Putting memes of a black sister guarding this white sister, and the white sister, instead of a ball, she's got a bucket of chicken. You know what I mean? They didn't remove this bitch's Twitter. Oh, she said all kinds of vile and vicious things about native blacks in this country. But they didn't take away her Twitter. But when you start calling out the dominant society and the things that they do, look, it's only going to be a matter of time before a lot of people already know. That's why I record and put my shit on SoundCloud. That's why I got to get my address and I got to get people's emails. Tamish, I'm going to email you, and I'm going to just start sending people my SoundCloud, because eventually, that's why I want a lot of people on here. That's why I don't promote it as much, because eventually they're going to take this shit. And I know they are, because I know the shit that I'm saying, I got books to back it up. And I'm not making them no money, so they're like, why the fuck is this nigga on here in the first place? And here's the thing. When you're dealing with the dominant society controlling the narrative, they just pull it whenever they want. That's why we got to have black media. We got to have black people that are coders. We have native black people that have their own internet forums, so we can tap into their shit. And if we got to pay the podcast, let's pay to do it. Then, because this is what will happen. Then the Twitters, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, they'll fold. Or they will bend to the will of the native black, or just the movement of the groups. That's like, y'all being unfair. Because anytime you start to talk about things that will educate your people, you're always going to have a problem. You know why? Because when you go to school, what do they teach you in school? They teach you about Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, all the safe Negroes. They don't teach you about Marcus Garvey. I didn't know about Marcus Garvey until I heard my mom and my brother talking about him after I had graduated high school already. I didn't know what Marcus Garvey was. I'm not gonna sit up in front. Oh, I always know I didn't. I grew up in Jesus Said It. So when you're dealing with Jesus Said It, you're not gonna know who any of those people are. So with that being said, once you come into a little bit of tidbit of knowledge, you gotta start doing the research. You gotta start doing things that you know is gonna help you. Because man, let me tell you, this they shit. And they gonna take it whenever they feel it's deemable to take up. So, this was the email that I'm reading. And then it says, and then when I go, it says, for 6 days and so many hours, I can't have my Twitter. That's why, see, what they're going to start doing is tightening up on that choke. They're going to start having coders look, oh, black identity extremists. Oh, I don't like what he's talking about. Oh, no. Get him out of here. Get him out of there. That's why I do want to open up a bookstore. I do want to. You like, oh, there ain't no money. You damn right ain't no money. But I want to feed my people. That's why I've been looking at opportunity zones and shit too. Because we got to have something besides social media to feed our people. Because they're going to, in my personal opinion, clamp down on it where it's going to be damn near impossible to have social media. You're going to have to watch everything you say, everything you do. If you're talking shit about women, they're going to keep that up there depending on who you're talking about. But I called Danny Glover a Sambo and a coon because, in my personal opinion, I think he is. You went up before the board about the HR 40 study and reparations. You did a whole bunch of talking about shit that don't even matter. They always have people up there that's not knowledgeable about our struggle at all. These are people that probably ain't never read a book in their life dealing with our struggle. And they always have these people and they prop them up. Just like I was watching this thing about, it was like a documentary about Freddie Gray. And they had a young brother that, you know, he was kind of an activist, and, you know, he was just speaking against brutality. And you had other brothers on there, and then you had the Caucasian brother that was the head of the police department. And it looked like a lot of it was altered for the cameras and it was forced. But my thing is always this. Why are we not questioning how you going to have Baltimore, who is predominantly Native blacks, 85 to 90% Native blacks, but you got a white police chief? You don't see nothing wrong with that? Okay. And then I learned how emotional we get. Because one of the brothers that was talking to him, he was just getting so emotional. But we got to understand, we got to put those emotions to the side. Because the dominant society does not give a fuck about your emotions. They know who you really are. They know that you're the God. They know that you're responsible for the land, wealth, the resource, because you built it. They know everything comes from Africa. All the paper, everything. I was watching this other like documentary. It had the same people that's in Hidden Colors. It was in this. It was in 2016. Had Anthony Browder's daughter, Anthony Browder in there, Dr. Hirwa Fakamene. Very, very good documentary. I didn't even get, it's like 3 hours long. I forgot what the name of it is. But it's very, very good. And the thing about it is it's true. Herodotus, or whatever that dude's name is, in Stolen Legacy, he basically got all this shit from Africa. The Nile River, everything, the science, the liberal arts, everything. They stole from Africa. And then they come over here, they go to Greece, they go back, they remix it, and then they spoon feed it to us, but they keep all the occult knowledge and the real shit away. That's why black people will, eyes don't do no voodoo when it come to our shit. But when it come to Jesus Said It with Cesare Borgia, Jesus said, leave on me. He's a merciful God. Oh, Lord Jesus. Hold up about Shando. That shit. How you gonna get any power praying to Cesare Borgia? You don't even know who that most black, I would say, religious folk, not my Nation of Islam brothers, not my Hebrew Israelite brothers, not them, not my Moorish brothers. So let's exclude them because they know. But if we just dealing with Baptists and Episcopalian and all these, and First AME and First AME, Church of God and this and Jesus Christ and all, you tell them, hey man, what's the name of that guy that's on that wall? Man, that's Jesus, man. You better stop playing like that. No, that's Cesare Borgia. No, that ain't. Who is that? Go look it up. Go look up the Borgias as I got the book. But we don't want to think about that. You know why we don't think about that? Because Jesus said, just go do it. I don't know how many times I've told people, I told my brothers, we talk about it all the time. The one thing I will say is he was on Farrakhan when I was a kid. Listening to Public Enemy all the time, Fight the Power. And I think Farrakhan is a prophet you should listen to. And I remember my brother listening to that shit when I was a child. So he wasn't paying attention to none of that shit. But when you go through the emotions, you're still being engineered. It's like, that's why they tell you go to school, get your education, really, so you can be reinserted back into the system. Because that's all you're doing. We're just building you up to be a bigger slave because we need so many slaves. That's why I'm still waiting for the native black or just black person, period, that comes up with their own streaming platform and their own social media platform where you can talk and say and do what the fuck you want to do, and you ain't got to be worried about none of the bullshit. Because that's what it's really about. Because they gonna keep taking it. They gonna keep taking all this social media. They not finna bend to the wheel until people be like, all right, I'm getting off of this shit. And I'm not on Twitter every day. But a lot of the things that I say gets retweeted, gets liked, gets retweeted, retweeted again, and retweeted again, and retweeted again. And they don't like that. So now, this nigga's a problem. And then I use certain code words. See, you gotta know the word, you gotta know the terminologies. Know how to speak in such a way where you ain't gotta be cussing and using foul language all the time. See, when you don't have to call them Caucasian dominant society. According to Neely Fuller Jr. and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, they dominate 9 areas of activity: labor, law, sex, politics, religion, war, counter-war, education, entertainment. So, with that being said, we know what it is. When I read Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's book, The ISIS Paper, that shit had me so mad because I was like, damn, she done broke it down on a psychological level. It's genetic annihilation. That's why you got people like Dwayne Wade parading around his son on some moist shit. So you telling every young black boy, okay, it's okay to be moist. We're not saying that. Okay, if you're gonna be moist, fine. But let's take a deeper look. Let's look at the food they give you. So if you are vegan, stop being a vegan. Because you're gonna eat the majority of the shit you're eating is soy. And that will make you feminine, give you titties. Trust and believe you me. You better start looking at what you're eating. So you think, I'm a vegan. Yeah, that's gonna turn you into a bitch. You're gonna have a period. And need some tampons and some pads. And some cranberry juice. So let's know what we're doing. That's why go get the book by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, How to Eat to Live. Go get the book. You don't see, people think you gotta be a Muslim to learn the shit that they talking about. I ain't no fucking Muslim, but I'm about to once I read How to Eat to Live, I'm gonna tell you a million times, I read How to Eat to Live by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and then I watched What the Health like a year later. That fucked me up. Because the same shit that was in How to Eat to Live was the same shit that was in What the Health. And white people put on What the Health. Oh, and white scientists vetted out the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's How to Eat to Live. See, you don't have to be a Muslim to take that knowledge. Come on, man. You know, we grasp at every word of Aristotle and Socrates, but you're not following in their religious beliefs. But the great Aristotle, that's why when a motherfucker get to quoting that shit, you know how many times I done checked it? Ever since I read The Stolen Legacy, I'm like, well, that's why I had to check a couple people. I was like, where do you think they got geometry from? He was like, because some people from Greece, they put a stick and then they just watched the shadow. I said, no. Geometry, how could you come up with geometry and you never built a pyramid? A pyramid ain't nothing but geometry. If you took in it. If you have taken that course of geometry, sides, angles, where do you think that came from? The great Pythagoras studied in ancient Kemet for 22 years. I've got 3 books, 4. I got 3 numerology books and 1 book, The Stolen Legacy, that talks about how the great Pythagoras studied in ancient Kemet for 22 years. And he's our mathematician. Well, you're not really a mathematician if you got it from black people. And then you remixed it and then gave it to us, and then in the goddamn the books in school, it's the Pythagorean theorem. No, it should be the ancient Kemetic theorem. The ancient Kemetic theorem. Or the ancient Kemet theorem. Or the ancient Egyptian theorem. But it shouldn't be named after a motherfucker who went over there and studied and stole it. You think I can go over there to the Jewish scholars and study their banking thing and then come back and flip it on people and be like, well, this is my shit? They gonna be like, No, nigga, that's not your shit. That's the Jewish community shit. But we the only group of people that just allow motherfuckers to remix shit and then come along. That's why they co-opted hip-hop. Like I said before, no diss, but it's like, let them tell it. Eminem is the greatest rapper that ever walked the land earth. And then now, because of, shout out to Lord Jamar, because Lord Jamar has been pushing that agenda that, no, nigga, you are a guest in hip-hop. You did not create it. Your people did not create this. Now he has to recant and be like, I never said that. But all he had to do, you like, why you talking about this, Warren? The reason why I'm talking about this, because 20, 30 years ago, when Larry Bird was playing on Boston Celtics, they were just glorifying Larry Bird, glorifying all the white players. And then Isaiah Thomas said, black players play at a high level every day and do these things. And we don't get glorified for it. But y'all glorifying Larry Bird because he's white? So what ended up happening was they brung Larry Bird and Isaiah Thomas together to have a conference. Go YouTube it. Larry Bird sat down at that conference and said, and looked in the camera, looked at those people, and they said, what do you think about Isaiah Thomas saying that black players are better than white players, and if it was another black player, nobody would be glorifying it? He said, I agree. The black players are better than the white players. So can we get better? So can we get back to playing basketball? Shut that whole narrative down. Done. That's why I get Larry Bird props. Shut it down. Done. Done. Now, it never resurfaced again, and they never put that camera in Larry Bird's face again. Right? Now, when you're dealing with people like Eminem, it takes 10 seconds to say, I am not the greatest rapper in hip-hop. A lot of my albums are being sold because I am white. The greatest rappers in hip-hop is Rakim Allah, KRS-One, Grandmaster Cash. Start naming them. But you have not done that. And that's exactly why a lot of native black people have backed up. I'm not gonna lie, I used to be an Eminem fan because of Dre. Anything that Dre produced, because I'm a production person, anything that he produced, I'm gonna listen to. Because I'm listening to the music, the production, the beat. But as I got older, and I would say around 2009, when he started really going at Nick Cannon, I was like, damn, why he going at Nick Cannon so tough? Like, damn, this is fucked up. And then after that album, that Drake, because Dre had produced like 8 tracks on there. So I'm listening to the album, I'm listening to it, and I'm like, damn, the production is dope, but he not really saying shit. And then after that, I bought, I think, one more album. It's like a double disc to listen to the beats, and I wasn't really liking the beats. And then I listened to Rap God, and I listened to how he was using everybody's style. Now, did I think I'm beginning to feel like I'm a rap god? I thought that was very disrespectful. But at the time, I'm a beat person. I'm listening to the beat, listening to what he's saying. And I'm like, man, I'm not really feeling this shit. And after that, I didn't buy the album again because I just was like, I'm not really feeling this shit. I'm not really feeling this shit at all. And after that, I just kind of was over it because I was like, Dre not producing it. So I was like, ain't no need of me listening to it anyway. But within that time window of Lord Jamar saying you're a guest in hip-hop, you could have, I am a guest in hip-hop, and I do agree with Lord Jamar. And every white person that does music in hip-hop, you're a guest. It's not your genre. It's not your music. You didn't create it. Done. That would have shut up Lord Jamar. But we have to deal with the psyche of the dominant society. The psyche, low-key, they calling us niggas. Low-key, they laughing and making fun. And as Eminem used that comparison to Elvis, Elvis was a big-time racist who said the only thing a nigga could do is shine his shoes. He was a fucking thief, a well-known thief. Bo Diddley is rock and roll. I'll just tell you that. But they will glorify, because he's white. Because he's a part of the dominant society. So as I'm watching this documentary about Freddie Gray, and you see all these black officers, and it's like, they jumping for joy because none of the officers got charged, and oh, that was just a clear accident. It's like, man, they got y'all so socially engineered, you don't even understand you're going against your own people because of that job, those resources. But we don't know how to be on code. Sometimes it's best not to say anything. Then they had Elijah Cummings on there before he passed away, and let's just trust the process. No, that sounds like some corporate plantation shit. trust the process. Man, trust the process, my ass. Trust the process have you dealing with people like Craig Tamber, who was a well-known white supremacist who pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter and admitted to a sentencing enhancement for committing the crime to benefit a street gang. According to court records, he also pleaded guilty to dissuading a witness by force, street terrorism, and assault with a deadly weapon on force likely to produce great bodily injury, and was sentenced to 13 years in prison. Then he got out and killed somebody else. Man, see, this is the problem. We got to understand the rules of engagement. And if you go watch Who Killed Malcolm X, whoever was the editor should have been like, we're not going to depict the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam to be this bad organization. Stop doing that. We're not even going to discuss any of that. We're just going to discuss the quarrel between the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X, and we're going to go from there. But they was sure and hell-bent, just like Malcolm X the movie, to depict the Nation and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as evil people or just people that are not practicing what they preach. Let me tell you something. White folks don't practice what they preach every fucking day. And we exalt them and honor them and praise them. Half you niggas is praising Shazray Borgia who ain't even Jesus Christ. But we still do it. But when it comes to our own, I remember I used to have these debates with my mom about it all the time. Y'all, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he had all little girls and he was getting pregnant. I said, so? And John F. Kennedy was fucking hella bitches in the White House. We don't talk about that. We don't never talk about that. Bill Clinton got fellatio, got busted, and lied. Nobody has said anything about that. Anything. Andrew Jackson is well known for killing Native blacks and stealing their land. Nobody says anything about that. But when it comes to Brother Khalid Muhammad, Malcolm X, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we got problems. Oh, well, they doing this with the money. They doing that. So, let me tell you, I could point out a million goddamn preachers that's living 10 times better than the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was living, and they selling hope. They're not even educating people. They're not even telling them they're not even telling them who you are and that you are God. They ain't telling you none of that shit and that God is black. They're not arming you with dealing with racism and white supremacy at all. But they got a fresh Cadillac. They got gazelles. They got a fresh suit. They got gators. They got them gators on. Trust me, I've seen so much hustling in the Jesus Center. That's why when a nigga be like, man, come to my church, man, I'm good. I don't want to go to no small church, and I want to go to a small church. Small church basically is reminding you of poverty. And then you go to a big church, it's basically reminding you of classism. That's why, you notice I tell my nephew this, my nephew Whoopo all the time. I said, haven't you ever thought that the only thing they let niggas own is churches, but you don't own no real businesses, and you don't own no banks, and you don't own no major corporations? A church can't be traded on the stock market, but the things that you use to build a church can be traded on the stock market. You never noticed that? And he'd be like, and he'll always answer me like, yeah, you right. No. They'll let you own everything but things that are threatening to their interest. You know what I mean? That's why I'm like, man, I just didn't like that. And at the end, the brother that was co-opted and actually shot Malcolm X, he mysteriously died right before the brother was about to go talk to him. And then he go ask other Muslims, and one Muslim was a retired detective for New Jersey. Oh, that chapter's closed. That sound like dominant society talking points. Oh, that's gone. No, because once you start uncovering, oh, well, he did kill Malcolm. Okay, well, was he a part of the nation? Oh, he was co-opted. Okay, did y'all know that? Oh, y'all did know that. Now you start to peel back the layers. Look, man, if they would kill Fred Hampton, then of course they'd kill Malcolm X. Stop believing in the system and all this trust the process. For Regan and something, it's like, wait, hold on, nigga. And then it's so funny because those people are hand selected to do the bidding for us. But we don't acknowledge them and we do not grant them the permission to speak on our behalf. That's another thing. I remember I was at this church function and a relative of mine called himself speaking for me. And I had to nip that shit in the bud real quickly. Nigga, don't ever speak for me. You speak for you. Don't speak for me. I'll speak for myself. And that relative kind of looked at me crazy and I stood on my square. My brother was right there. He remember that shit. He bring that shit up to this day. And he got all mad. I was like, man, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, nigga, because he don't speak for me. Nigga, that's the problem. We just let anybody get up and get to talk of us. Sheila Jackson, all these non-native black people that's not even from here. Then you got these Africans that come from Africa, from everywhere part of Africa, and Akata and lazy niggas and all this other shit. Not knowing they don't give a fuck about you either. But you think that they do because you think somehow, some way, you're not a part of that struggle. Then take your bitch ass back to Africa. If you don't want to join forces with us and replace the system of white supremacy and establish a system of justice, then you can take your ass back to where the fuck you came from. They just know how to conquer. They know how to divide and conquer. That's how they were able to split the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, not the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. They was watching and waiting. And then once they saw that they had action, you already knew what was going to happen. And it was bigger than the Nation of Islam. But they showed it framed several people. Go watch it. Very, very good documentary. That's shit that going right now. They dummy and doctor up documents and shit. Oh, you wrote this. Or they can do anything with a cell phone. They can create up any type of email law. They can create fake accounts and all that. You're not controlling this shit. So remember that. That's why they suspended my shit. Because what I said was about to be retweeted over and over again. And I don't even have a whole lot. I probably got like 200 followers. Half the followers that I got, the last 10, 12 followers I got, is because they witnessed me battling the LGBTQ, LMNOP, XYZ community, trying to separate native black moist people and native black people. Oh, you don't like him because he's gay. I never said I didn't like him. Oh, you're homophobic. I'm not homophobic because I'm not scared of moist people. So stop saying that. No, the dominant society is native black phobic. That's what they are. That's why when they come around us, they try to either co-opt what we doing or they give you this lame ass simple sign. I got black friends. Or my best friend is black. Or some bullshit like that. So you can lessen your guard. Let me tell you something. If you don't understand or have the understanding of racism, white supremacy, everything else will confuse you like Nelly Fuller talks and teaches. Go get these books. I'm still reading Behold the Pale Horse. This book is so phenomenal. This book, there's one page where he talks about, I guess he got these documents, how the World Health Organization and CDC infected 100 million black people with HIV, saying it was some type of, not virus, but vaccination. And then they infected probably about 100,000 white moist men. And then what they did was, hopefully, moist black men and then moist white men get together. Oh, you gay, you got the HIV. And that's where it comes from. And then once they, can create that narrative, you just gonna run with it. Who's ever telling the story and has control of the image and the narrative, they create the perception for you. That's why most people think that Jesus is Cesare Borgia. And it's so hard for native black people to think that Jesus is black. And when you have that conversation, most black people be talking this, Jesus ain't got no color. God ain't got no color. Man, get the fuck out of here. You are God. And I'm starting to realize that every day. That's why when you get on the court plantation, understand who you are and what you're about. And know that that is separate from who you are. A job is something you do. It's not who you are. Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player that ever played the game of basketball. That don't mean he's an asshole and don't give a fuck about his people. We don't know that. Because if we stripped the money, the land, the resources, and just told a nigga to play basketball, a lot of niggas wouldn't even be playing basketball. That's a fact. A lot of niggas wouldn't even be doing music. I'm telling you, do the research for yourself. For a person like J. Edgar Hoover to be the FBI director for 40 years and ain't nobody see a problem. Matter of fact, go watch a basketball game. Go watch the Laker game. Look at the front row. It's dominant society people. It ain't blacks. And if it is, they're entertainer. That's a fact. But we're supposed to feel like it's equal. No, it's equal to the dominant society. That's why they'll never speak up or raise their hand to it. They'll never give up their white privilege, as Max Kellerman said. I know I have white privilege, but I'm not giving it up. And that's the problem. And those type of people are the type of people that we have to use as examples of. It's more people like Max Kellerman. They're just not going to say it out loud. Most dominant society people know, and they are fully aware and mindful of who created these systems, who is being ran by, where the knowledge is, and the people that don't know, they don't want to know. Why would a dominant society person, a Caucasian person want to know about this? Why would they want to know about this book and what J. Edgar Hoover was about? Why would they want to know about Fred Hampton? That's why people could call the Black Panther Party a terrorist organization. How is they a terrorist organization? They had a 10-point program that's stating that they want their rights, they want their amendments, they wanted land, wealth, and resources back that their family built. How is that a terrorist? Let me tell you what a terrorist organization is. It's Andrew Jackson, Thomas Jefferson. Tulsa, Oklahoma was the first terrorist act that was committed in the United States of America. Oh, y'all niggas want to depend on each other? We'll just drop a bomb. That's why that desegregation and let's integrate everybody, that hurt us more than helping us. Because all that did was, that's why people don't know how to deal with not being accepted by them. The dominant society as a whole and want to be pat on the back. Nah, pat on the head. Once you understand who you are and where you're going, none of that means anything. All that wanting to do something and get the comment from them. And all, that's why when the cameras turn on, we got to stop buck dancing and turning to Andre 3000 on bombs on Baghdad and shimmying and shaking it. We got to stop all that and crying. And as I'm watching this documentary about Freddie Gray, they had this one part where everybody quotes scriptures. Know thee that the Lord is God. And stop all that shit and protesting with a means to, no means to, what are you doing after that? What are you doing after that? Maybe we would have had the knowledge to say, okay, this policeman killed Freddie Gray. Let's put a lien on the judge's bond and all those police officers. Now they can't work. But we don't want to know that knowledge because that's just stupid talk. That's that conspiracy talk. That's why when you read books that dive into a lot of the CIA and FBI, motherfuckers think you conspiracy theorists. No, you just gaining knowledge of what the fuck is going on. Know what it is, man. Stop allowing people to give you the knowledge. Go read the shit for yourself. Go read these books. I keep these same books up here because these are books that I reference and I go to all the time, man, because they're just great books. Matrix of Power, go read that book. That's a great book as well. Slavery by Another Name. This book will basically tell you that Native blacks built the railroads. And the prison to the chain gang, the prison pipeline is real. And the matter of color basically gives you your status and all the slave codes and rules and regulations and shit that they had going on in this book. Very good book. I got a lot of shit highlighted in this book. Let me read something. I'm telling you, there is so many things in this book that I was reading. I was like, damn. According to the preamble, which is as revealing of the Pennsylvania legislators' view of blacks as are the restrictions themselves. Experience has demonstrated that free Negroes are an idle, slothful people and often burdensome to the neighborhood and afford ill examples to other Negroes. Thus, for this first time, free blacks were categorized separately from slaves and subjected to special restrictions by law. Let me tell you something. It's funny reading that. I just picked it out and read it. Because in this documentary, this sister, Sambo, Mammy, was like, yeah, you know, about 500 people, if you walk them, a lot of these people you see, she's driving her cop squad car. A lot of these people that you see walking around, because these black people saw her and they just shook their head and walked the other way out of disgust. And she was like, yeah, 9 times out of 10, if you see them walking, they ain't even doing nothing. So they either getting ready to commit a crime or they selling drugs. I said, wow, that's how deep the social engineering goes, that you will view your own people like that. That's why when I see my people, I speak to them. When I see my sisters, I say, hey, what's going on? Now, there's some sisters that are mammies that think because they got their little nice car and their little corporate plantation job that they think they better than the average nigga. I've dealt with that my whole life because I ain't got no education. The education, I'm self-educated. I read the books on my own. But the thing about it is I be laughing at those bourgeoisie motherfuckers because you a slave just like me. You don't own that company. So if they don't like your black ass, they can remove you too. But we have not really dissected the science of, like, whether I'm making $100,000 or I'm making $20,000, I'm still a slave. And I can't treat my people like that. But because most native black people are going with the hierarchy of need that the dominant society has created, we don't want to do more for us by each one teaching one. Go to school, get you a good education so you can do what? Get you a good job. Not be an electrician, not be a plumber, not be a bricklayer, not be a motherfucking carpenter. Go get your education and some bullshit degree so you can sit at a cubicle, be miserable for 8, 9, 10 hours, hate fucking life as some dominant society motherfucker who don't got a degree, whose parents know the CEO or director or VP of the company, slide them right in and be over you with your master's degree. I've seen it a million times. But we have yet to understand who we are and where we going. So what happens is we feel like this little bullshit education makes us better than the average person. That's why it's hard for me to have conversations with people with their little funky degrees, because I was talking the other day, I remember I was talking about the stock, and this Caucasian brother, suspected white supremacist, you know, was basically trying to belittle me and my knowledge of the stock market. And basically, oh, you don't buy no stock in gas stations, and you can't make no money in there. And I said, well, do you understand what stock is about? And he was just like, well, yeah, but you don't buy that. And I was like, what do you mean there's no stock in oil companies? What do you mean? In gas stations like Chevron and Shell. I was like, explain to me why. Well, because everything is going electric. Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that oil will go away. And he was like, yeah. He's like, and buying stock and like, all, like, there's no money in that. And I was like, but how do you know this? I kept asking him, how did he know this? I was like, what info? He was like, trust me, man, I got a degree or some shit he got on. And I was like, well, have you read any books or anything? Well, yeah, you could just Google. I said, well, Google is paraphrasing knowledge. Have you read any books? And I was like, in the great words of your boy, Warren Buffett, if you're not prepared to own a stock for 10 years, then you shouldn't buy it. He was like, yeah, well, stock goes up so fast and goes so down, you're not making no money. I said, well, there's a difference. Are you talking about day traders? Or are you just talking about people that are trying to diversify their portfolio? I just kept asking him questions like, what do you mean? He couldn't give me no answer. And he was just like, well, that's a waste of time. I said, well, is it more of a waste of time than going to a sports book and giving your money on a short-term gain? Or are you thinking long-term? See, I actually asked, like, what do you say? Then he was getting flustered, and I said, well, do you know the basis of what stock is about and how it fluctuates? It goes up and down and it hits the bottom, and when it hits the bottom, that's when you buy, and then when it hits the top, that's when you sell. Like, do you understand what it's about? Well, yeah, that's common sense. I was like, well, then why would you say that there's no money in it? And he just didn't expect my black ass to stand on what I knew. And when I started saying, well, how do you think these people that they're on the New York Stock Exchange make their money? Because of people's long-term investments. How do you think retirement is gathered? 401k, mutual funds. And he was just like, what'd you do, Google? I said, no, I read 2 books that are about 600 pages apiece that helped me gain knowledge on the stock market. I just did it the old-fashioned way. And I said, maybe you should read those books before you have a prehistoric judgment on the stock market, right? And he was just like, oh, I don't have time. I was like, well, then maybe you're speaking on an opinion. You're not speaking on facts, because facts will teach us that the stock market goes up and it goes down. And then he got mad and he just walked away. And then there was another gentleman there that told him, man, you picked the debate with the wrong motherfucker. You picked the argument with the wrong motherfucker. And see, he didn't like that I wasn't getting emotional about it. See, they want you to get emotional, and I just laugh at them. Man, I've had people ask me, oh man, what book you read? I'm reading Behold the Pale Horse. What is it about? And then in the book, at the top, it was chatting about you. Oh, is it about UFOs and conspiracy theories? Oh, that's what it's about? Cool. And trying to belittle the knowledge that I'm trying to gain. I said, and then this person was like, oh man, this is something that a 12-year-old kid would want to read or something like that. I said, no. And I just laughed at him and said, a 12-year-old kid is not going to have the faintest idea what this book is about. And I laughed at him. And then that person got very upset because he knew, you sound stupid trying to make and belittle the quest for my knowledge and journey is. See, you just gotta read the coding, because these suspected white supremacists and dominant society people, they don't like that you're questing for knowledge. They want you to be a deaf, dumb, and blind nigga who just believes whatever they tell you it is to be true, and they don't want you to have your own belief system. But when you get on the corporate plantation, you don't express your belief system. You keep that introverted and compartmentalize it, because you're there to get your bread and going about your way. You're not there to challenge others' belief system. So get your bread and going about your way. If you do that, you will feel better at night. You can discuss this among other people that share the same passions as you. Don't take that shit on the corporate plantation. All it's gonna do is frustrate you. You use these books and use the knowledge so you can know how to maneuver through the system. Like me, nothing really bothers me anymore, because I just be laughing. Because a lot of the times they want you to be what they want you to be. That's why in the corporate plantation, if you're a docile, a conformist, go along to get along ass nigga, keep your head down and just go forward, be scared and don't look them in the eye and don't stand on what you believe, you're the safe Negro. So what you have to do is just don't say nothing. If it's anything that's not pertaining to the job, do not bring it into the job. Keep that separate. Don't discuss any of your personal business with the dominant society people at the corporate plantation, because they're gathering data on who you are. That's all. Hey man, I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. Hey, go check out my Twitter at Warren Like These though. WarrenLikeDeezdo. Go check me out there, even though I can't Twitter, but you can go back and read my history of tweets. You know what I'm saying? And hey, man, I'm going to try to catch y'all sometime this week. I'm going to be very, very busy about this situation. And I just got another book. I ain't ordered a book in about 2 months, so I just ordered another book. But anyway, man, Love, live life. This is your boy, Warren G. Been clowning sucker free since 2003. Shout out to everybody that's at the Corn Plantation that's reading and gaining knowledge of who they are. Hey, man. Guilty niggas. I'm out. Peace.